Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally and today we are finishing up the August JW broadcasting. We are going to learn about a prophet that was put in a weird situation where he had to marry a prostitute and take care of her children, or not the children that weren't his. A very strange and unique situation. We got a music video talking about how wonderful Christian women are. A real hoot and a holler on this one. So quickly before we get into it, don't forget to drop a like on the video. It literally takes like a half a second and it makes a massive difference in how the video performs in the YouTube algorithm. I very much appreciate it. We are well on our way to that goal of hitting 40. I'm trying to be super like parasocial here. We are on our way. I am on my way. You are helping me get there to that goal of 45,000 subscribers. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. With all of that being said, let's do this. So this next section is a little bit on the nose because it's called Lessons from Watchtower, not Lessons from the Bible. And on screen, I'll put it on the screen as you can see, but they are showing not scriptures, but paragraphs from a 2018 Watchtower. It's just the slow reduction of, why even read the Bible anymore? Why not just pick up an old Watchtower? That's got the spiritual truths in it anyway. Now, we never know what people are actually saying because these are always dubbed, so take that for what you will. It's probably scripted anyway. But the whole point of this is talking about hospitality. And it got me thinking why they were having a section on hospitality, just being nice and welcoming to people in your congregation, your friends acting like your friends. And I was just curious if there is anyone who is still actively associated with Jehovah's Witnesses, is going to meetings and that whole thing. Has there been any type of shift in the closeness of congregations? That was like a hallmark of my experience as a witness, was just how tight, obviously there was like different sectors and friend groups as there is in any situation, but just how the overall in your congregations there was a sense of closeness. And I'm wondering if that's starting to slip a little bit more and more as Watchtowers introduce some of these new policies and new changes, leaving things up to people's consciences. I feel like there might be more division than there ever has been within the organization. So I'm just curious about that. If you're in that position, you have any observations, I'd be very curious to know down in the comments, and I'll be keeping a lookout for that. But anyway, all of this is just talking about, hey, find ways to invite people over, even though it's a little expensive or you might be tired. Get over that. Even if you have to move your office, your home office, into your bedroom and inconvenience yourself, you should do that so you can set up an air mattress for guests that might come from Pioneer School. It's a very, very strange situation happening. But the reason that they want people to be close to the congregation and with each other is always the same.
There are so many different personalities in the congregation, and the time is coming when it will be essential for us to stick together.
We will face more and more pressure in this system of things. But we will be ever more thankful for the friendships in the congregation that can help us to resist this pressure. Together we are stronger because we can all support and rely on each other.
And the reasons they give are always exactly the same. The end is right around the corner. The old great tribulation, it's gonna get you like a good fisherman trying to be the master baiter. Wow, that's just not working at all. There's a joke in there somewhere, but that definitely wasn't it. Anyway, I'm wondering if this is also contributing to a sense of disunity, because the further and further away you get from the 1914s, the 1975s, and the generation, all that stuff, the further it removes you mentally and emotionally from thinking that the end is actually right around the corner. And so because of that, I think people would need the congregation a lot less if you're always like, man, Armageddon could happen tomorrow and these are going to be your best friends and everyone, you're going to be holding hands in a jail cell right as you go into paradise. As you kind of think, yeah, that's a interesting thing that we talk about, but I still need to worry about my life now. I wonder if that causes people to be less involved in showing hospitality to others in their congregations. Oh, just a little bit curious about that. With all of that being said, Stephen Lett is going to introduce a horrible, disgusting, just terrible, tragic situation. And of course, Watchtower is there to rub their little greedy fingers together and try and exploit it.
I'm from Colombia. I have 5 more sisters. I learned the truth from a very young age through my parents. It was a very active spiritual life. My dad lived the truth. He wasn't just in the truth. He lived the truth. And he always tried to pass that on to us. He made sure that we never went to school without reading the day's text first. That was essential. We could be late for school, but we couldn't leave the house without reading the text.
We were a big family, but we were always at the meeting. We filled 2 rows.
He was always concerned about the well-being of the brothers. He was always available. He was very hospitable, my mom as well.
So he used to invite his Bible students and the brothers to our house, and I remember that he would close the kitchen door, put on some music, and cook a delicious meal.
He liked to keep everything fun, and for us girls to have fun, especially when we were together as a family.
He would give each one of us what we needed and enjoyed.
He used to take us for walks on the weekend, after the meeting, and after preaching.
It was a privilege to have a father like that.
Well, that day, I remember that we were at home.
He was going to put the car in the garage. Some men came to the car and threatened him and my mom with machine guns to get him out of the car to kidnap him.
We heard a noise.
We all got scared and ran outside. And then I remember that my dad was on the ground and some men had shot him.
He was just left there. I just picked him up in my arms.
He was taken to the hospital, and a few hours later he died. My dad's last words were, "Jehovah, protect my daughters. Take care of my daughters and my little lady." That meant my mom.
In paradise, what I long for the most is those last words that he said, "Jehovah, my wife, my daughters," is to be able to say to him, "Look, here they are. We are all here."
We made it. You did a good job.
Now, I know that was a longer clip than I normally play, but I wanted to use this as like a framework for talking about how Jehovah's Witnesses do funerals. Something that maybe if you've never been a Jehovah's Witness, you're not aware of, or never been to a Jehovah's Witness funeral. This is how it's talked about. The person is, their whole life, their existence, everything is boiled down to the bullet points of what they did as a Jehovah's Witness. The life that they lived is remembered in this moment and celebrated as it pertains to what they do for Watchtower. And I'm not joking. Like this, if you went to a Jehovah's Witness memorial, this is how it would be set up. You would get maybe a couple of minutes. I'm talking like 2 or 3 out of a 45-minute outline. And the rest of it is going to be propaganda and manipulation, emotional manipulation for the family members. Don't you want to see your dad again in the paradise? And that's exactly what they do here. I cut it there and then jumped to the very end, but that's the end, or the conclusion that they all come to. So just a horrible, I mean, very tragic situation Zizi, why are you biting me? Stop. Yeah, so just a awful situation. And it's really sad because their dad was a Jehovah's Witness, and that is the life that he taught them in the whole world. Now they are going to spend the rest of their life propping up Watchtower and holding on to this thread. As the whole thing is coming apart, these will be some of the people that will go down with the ship, as it were. So yeah, you hate to see it, but it's just a tale as old as time at this point. So, someone important to you dies. They say, I want to see you in paradise. And then that basically sets up that person to be stuck as a Jehovah's Witness, or make it so much more difficult for them to leave because of this emotional attachment to the idea of seeing that person that they loved again.
Nowadays, everyone is happy, they have fun, and it's a very beautiful place.
You can live forever in paradise, so you can become friends with everyone from all over the world and become one big family.
In paradise, there are mountains, forests, rivers, lots of flowers, and you can hear people singing and laughing. It's exciting.
You can't really go near animals and play with them now, but in paradise, they won't hurt you or try to bite you, so you can play with them and have fun.
Watching this, I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older now, or I've been out of the religion for so long, but it really just how childish the whole thing is, and that's why they're showing children obviously talking about what they are going to enjoy and what paradise is going to be like for them. I'm not going to play the whole thing here. I can just do a little tiny section and you get the gist of it. But this story could have honestly been told by a governing body member. I feel like we get governing body talks at annual meetings. These big spiritual titans are going to give you the wisdom of God. And they will give a whole 30-minute speech about what it's going to be like in paradise.
And how did you feel when you saw scenes in the video of humans so close to wild animals? Jehovah's promise of peace among humans and peace between humans and animals is thrilling.
And that's what's so weird about it, because when you hear kids saying it, it's like talking about Santa Claus or something like that. You just think, okay, well, you're a dumb kid. You just believe whatever you're told, right? And yet this could have been done by a grown adult, because that is what Jehovah's Witnesses will talk about. Well, what are you looking forward to in paradise? You don't go to a party, you go to a gathering where you're going to talk about what you learned from a Watchtower magazine and what you're looking forward into paradise. Yep, Jehovah's Witness parties are off the chain, let me tell you what. But yeah, it just I don't know why, it just made me think it's so sad. It's so sad knowing that my brother, a couple years older than me, you're like a 40-year-old man and you're still talking about how wonderful it is that Santa Claus is going to bring you a new bike this December. And I feel like maybe it's just because I'm getting older. I don't understand how people that are in their, later 30s and 40s and 50s, how are you able to take yourself seriously knowing that stuff that kids are dreaming about, kids are talking about, and that, titillate their imagination. You're still having your imagination titillated. It's a brutal word to try and mess up, but anyway, it's getting off by thinking about paradise. And don't you just want to grow up? Don't you want to just, not think like a child anymore? And I think this religion does ultimately do that. It keeps you in this very child, early teens-like mindset. And that's for a very specific reason, because you will be more vulnerable to listening to whatever the governing bodies say if you're not a fully thinking adult person. So this next section features two people off camera having a dialogue in the manner of Tacitus or something, and they are digging into the Bible Book of Hosea, which is a fun little book that no one really knows too much about, or a lot of people haven't even heard of it. And this is a part of the Bible that God commissions his prophet to do something very strange, which they do talk about.
Hosea 1:2 says, "Go, marry a woman of prostitution, and have children of prostitution."
Yeah, can you imagine? The first thing that Jehovah tells you as a prophet is that he wants you to marry a woman who's going to be unfaithful to you. I wonder how he felt. What was his initial response?
What went through his mind, knowing that marital infidelity awaited him? Many who have gone through that circumstance say that it's an excruciating and devastating experience.
I don't know why it's so funny, but the guy's just like, well, this kind of blows, but God told me to, so what are we really going to do about it? Now, you might be asking yourself, why on God's green earth is God going to make his prophet marry a prostitute and then have the children of prostitution? Well, your answer is this.
So, by having Hosea experience something similar to what Jehovah was going through with Israel, Hosea could better empathize and communicate how deeply the people had hurt Jehovah.
Yeah, I can only imagine the weight that gave to Hosea's words.
Now here's the big question. What does this reveal about Jehovah's personality?
He's an asshole.
We don't just forgive, we love.
Another takeaway. Maybe we've hurt Jehovah by our actions in the past. Those memories may stay with us even if we've repented and gained forgiveness. We might find it hard to forgive ourselves. But that's not how Jehovah wants us to feel. Just like with the Israelites, he still wants to be our God and assure us of his forgiveness and loyal love.
So God was doing all of this, making this guy's life completely miserable by having him marry a prostitute and take care of her children, because he wanted to show in an illustrative form that this is what the nation of Israel has gone through. That despite their infidelity, he's holding on. He's the guy Jehovah is the guy staring at the camera going, well, that kind of sucks. Like, what? It's so baffling. It doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. And then they somehow tie in the old deleted Sony Ericsson video, the old shunning video that they got rid of after it was played in their Norway hearing, and completely embarrassed themselves by trying to convince people that they don't really shun or it's not that bad. Yet they have this video that's just like this massive whopper in the whole room. Like, you watch that video and it's like, oh my God. I've said this before, but it looks like a apostate made a video showing an accurate depiction of what life is like when you are disfellowshipped. But Watchtower made it, so it's real egg on their face, but they've deleted it off JW.org, but they decided to wheel it out here, again, to show that this is why God had Hosea marry a prostitute and take care of her prostitute children. It's a really weird, strange segment in the whole broadcast, but I got a bit of a laugh out of it. With all of that, let's move right along. It's easy. What are you beating Winston for? Oh, we are going to be looking at the music video presentation, everyone's least favorite section of these bad boys. So let's jump right in and see how God feels about faithful Christian sisters.
I'd like to take this time just to let you know I am inspired by the faithfulness you've always shown. With pen and paper, I put down these words.
Now, we haven't gotten into how he feels about Christian sisters, but I can tell you how I feel about this. I can tell you the reason she is not getting a date while she doesn't have a boyfriend is this god-awful top she's wearing with the alligator print bag thing. This is not a look, sweetheart. Like, we got to hit the reset button. Sometimes you got to be honest with yourself, take a good evaluation of what's going on in the mirror and say something needs to change. And my God, this ruffle from your waist all the way to your butt look, it ain't it.
You're always looking out to help behind the scenes.
This lyric kind of just got me. Like, why is it that women have to be forced to do good things for other people without any praise, without any recognition, without any acknowledgement? And yet the men in the Jehovah's Witness landscape, they get clapped for all the time. That sounds kind of actually weird now that I say that one out loud. Whatever. They are always, getting praise. I even did this one time in a video where I showed how many times where when a guy gets up on stage, they'll always give them their little name and what position they hold within the organization. And then when a woman is on stage, they just won't show anything, or she's doing an interview or something like that. It was a really fascinating thing. It's not like 100% of the time, but it was more often than I would have expected initially looking at it, I suppose. So I just think it's interesting how Watchtower historically has this culture where women are kind of silent. Not kind of silent, they're very silent. They don't have any decision-making opportunities. Everything has to be filtered or channeled through your father, and then if you're married, then your husband. And that's just kind of the way it is. And so they're reinforcing that with this song. Oh, you do good things for other people without the need for praise or anything like that. Whereas a guy, he wants to hold a position of honor. He wants to reach out and be recognized for his spirituality by accomplishing these things that are forward facing, that the congregation will look to him like, oh my God, we're so happy to have all these elders. They're so great. And then the women are just like, and we're happy for the elders' wives. Paragraph 13. They're hardworking and sacrificing by letting their husbands help and shepherd the congregation. But men are so awesome. So it's a very disproportionately balanced within the Jehovah's Witness world. Women don't have it necessarily easy. I think that the entire religion is just very, very misogynistic. Whatever you want to think about that word, you can think about it however you want. But anyway, just my 2 cents.
The gifts you give in secret have become known. You've lifted others up with so much love as they have grown. You think it's not much, but there are so many times you have touched our lives. We see you, sister, always a smile on your face. You keep on going, though you may doubt your precious place. If you could only see yourself through our eyes, then you would know how we see you. We see you, sister.
Oh yes, we see you, you faithful sisters. We see you for what you are. And that is being seen and having a smile on your face. I think that Watchtower misses something very obvious that most people can put together, and that is when you take away the decision-making aspect of your life, you're not really living a life full anymore. You are just along for the ride. You're essentially a prisoner. You can't actually make any choices about things. So when it comes to a woman's position within the Jehovah's Witness organization, there are always going to be rules made by men. There's going to be policies that have adapted over time by men. Judgments will be made by men. And all of this is against, again, in my opinion, a solid argument you could make in the Bible. I made a whole video about this before, so I won't just keep regurgitating the exact same things I've said. And maybe I'm just saying that too much more. Maybe I don't even need to make videos anymore. I've already said it before. But if you go through the Bible, you can find women that are prophets. You can have women that are judges. You have women that are leaders of armies, not of other women, but of men. You have a woman who is an apostle. Whoa! But they go and change the Bible so that way it's not in there. The point is you could make an argument. There, of course, you got the whole Pauline theology, which isn't too happy about marriage and women just flat out. Anyway, that's for a different time. But you could make a argument based off of various scriptures in the Bible that women do have the possibility, the potential, the right, the God-given right to have positions of power over men. God has used them in that way before. Why wouldn't he now? And it's a choice you can make, essentially. There's a why in the road, because when it comes down to it, how you interpret the Bible is just that. It's just your interpretation. So if you want to interpret it and say, nope, women, you are going to be a prisoner of your own life, a prisoner of your father, and then a prisoner of your husband. Could do that. It would make you look like a real asshole, but you could do that. Or you couldn't look at the scriptures that show the position that God gave to women at various times and say, why not have them be elders? Why not have them be on committees? Why not have them in decision-making roles? Because the Bible literally justifies it. And there you have it. Another JW broadcasting wrapped up and spanked on the bottom. So bada bing, bada boom, we're so back. I'll get back to regularly uploading my random thoughts that come up into the old noodle about the Jehovah's Witness religion. So with all of that being said, stay safe, be kind, and don't forget to spend more time loving the things you love than hating the things you hate. And you better have a good-ass day. I'm actually just remembering that I forgot to record an intro. So that's going to be weird because this is a different outfit. Oh well, if anyone's made it through this whole video and wondered why the intro had this outfit and then I changed and then I went back to it, now you know why. Shout outs to watching to the end of the video. Okay, bye.